aboard Hoppy Trails, our Ranger Tugs R31CB. We are Jason, Morgan,
I said race already, Willow.
and Willow. And together with our enthusiastic Golden Doodle Guthrie, we are embarking on America's Great Loop, a 6,000-mile journey by water around the eastern United States. We are very excited to get started. However, no Great Loop story starts when the boat leaves the dock, but in the weeks and months leading up to departure day. So let's start at the beginning and get the boat ready for the voyage. So today we're getting the boat pulled out of the water. Normally it's not a big deal because we do it ourselves and put it on the trailer. But this time we're having somebody else do it and put it on blocks, which means it's going to be on stands and we're not going to be able to move it. So it's completely in somebody else's hands. That's a little bit nerve-wracking. But the plan today is we'll scrape the bottom up, get it ready for some bottom paint, maybe clean up the sides, get some of the watermarks off, and just generally get things a little bit cleaned up. Tomorrow we'll come back, put the bottom paint on, finish cleaning up, and then continue on to other projects. We'll see how it goes. The water is particularly low this season, so it's with a steady hand and slow speed that we pull up to the dock to get the boat pulled out. I know they've been doing it this way for a long time, but that still doesn't look right to me. Sketchy. Bottom paint, also called anti-fouling paint, is designed to keep mussels, barnacles, and other water-bound critters from attaching to your hull, which will create drag and reduce your gas mileage over time. The bottom paint is toxic, so it's always a good idea to wear some protective gear, even if you're just doing a light sanding like we are today. It's not just the bottom that needs attention though, as we built up a good layer of hard water spots over the last summer of boating. Here's a top tip that we've learned from the hard water up in Mississippi. We get this hard water on the hull, and it's just murder. I don't know if you can see that. But if you just use a random orbital polisher and some vinegar and some Dawn dish soap, you get a really nice shiny result. Look at that. After getting the hull nice and shiny, it's always a good idea to apply wax or sealer to protect it from the elements. Our hull is actually painted with Allcraft 2000, so we use their proprietary sealer to finish the job. Back to the bottom paint. Our paint is actually in pretty good condition, but with a full year and thousands of miles ahead of us, we wanted to make sure there was an extra coat just to be safe. So about a month ago, we hit something underwater and it dinged up our prop pretty good. We got a new prop put on there, but there was still kind of this like rumbling, grinding sound. So we had some mechanics come out and take a quick ride, and they thought it was maybe the prop that was making the sounds, but we had a new prop on there, so that didn't make a whole lot of sense. And you know, just boat mechanics don't seem to work at the same pace that us boaters want to go boating. So today, we're going to try to do repairs ourselves. I took a close look at the cutlass bearing, and it looks like there's a couple of rubber pieces missing. So today we're going to try to get the prop off, get the shaft out, see if we can remove the cutlass bearing. That might be a challenge. We'll see how it goes. But we'll get the bearing out of there. We got a replacement on the way, and hopefully we'll get the boat back in the water next Wednesday, which will be about 1 week till our departure for the Great Loop. Wish me luck. It turns out that removing the propeller shaft and the cutlass bearing required more tools and time that I had available for the time that we had left. So considering there were no signs of significant damage beyond the propeller, we decided to save this work for the professionals further downriver. Our trip around the Great Loop will start with about 600 miles traveling down the Mississippi. And so, we thought it would be fun to take a little road trip up to the Mississippi Headwaters at Itasca State Park, and at the same time, take Willow on her first camping trip. The first stop of the trip is in Duluth, Minnesota, for beer and a growler fill at the Bent Paddle Brewery. If you haven't already figured from the name of our boat, we do enjoy a good brew. After a quick stop to see the Iron Man statue in Chisholm, Minnesota, we made our way to the Minnesota Museum of Mining, a fun and funky collection of all things trucks, tractors, trains, and a whole lot more. It's a great stop for both kids and adults, with hands-on displays and a large variety of attractions. At only $8 for adults and free for kids under 6, it is definitely worth a stop. You take another picture?
What?
You take my picture. I'm taking your picture of you taking a picture of Mom. The fun of the museum doesn't stop outside, however. There is a very large railroad diorama that took 40 years to complete, and it takes up a whole building. Next door, past the railroad caboose, there's another building full of all sorts of attractions, from old schoolrooms to a horse-drawn school bus, to printing presses, and more. Just be sure you don't leave before descending into the museum's replica of an underground mine shaft, where you can get a feel for what it might be like to be a miner in Minnesota's Iron Range. And on a hot day like this, it's a great place to cool down.
Chocolates in the pans. Chocolates in the pans. Chocolates in the pans. Chocolates in the pans. Chocolates in
We were on the road again, this time for our destination of Itasca State Park. The park was established in 1891, making it the first in Minnesota. It is also the second oldest state park in the United States, behind Niagara Falls. The Mississippi Headwaters are just a short walk off the main road, but can be turned into a half-mile hike by gravel road and boardwalks. This small stream is where the mighty Mississippi begins its 2,552-mile trek down to the Gulf of Mexico. And while we won't be traveling the whole length of the Mississippi, it's wild to think that in just a week's time, we too will be traveling towards the Gulf of Mexico by water. It's estimated that the water in Lake Itasca takes about 3 months to flow down the Mississippi River to the Gulf of Mexico. So, even with our planned side trips, the water we're stepping in today will arrive in the Gulf about a month after we do. You shouldn't leave the park without biking or driving the Wilderness Drive, a 7-mile one-way stretch that helps make the loop around Itasca Lake and the Wilderness Preserve. Not far from the state park, you'll find Porter's Brewing, where you can enjoy a couple beers, order a pizza, and enjoy the cozy atmosphere with a few games. But for now, it's back to the campsite for a fire, some s'mores, and Willow's first night in the tent. 1, 2, 3. Again. Again. Hit one more time.
Yeah.
So we've got the campsite all wrapped up and we're just about ready to head home. This was a fun weekend. This was Willow's first time in the tent and she really took to it. She slept well. She especially enjoyed 7 a.m. wake-ups and jumping all over us and the air mattress, so she really liked it. So yeah, back home, back to Hoppy Trails, and we take off in about 1 week for the Great Loop. With the vacation over, it's time to get back to work, and today's project is prop speed. Just like bottom paint will keep any critters from clinging to your hull, prop speed will keep anything from going on your prop, rudder, or any other underwater metallic items, minimizing drag and fuel consumption. Meanwhile, back at the house.
Oh my God. I found something that has been in our refrigerator for 10 years. Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed. This balsamic vinegar has a date from 10 years ago. I really don't use balsamic vinegar hardly at all. That means it's moved with me at least 1, 2, 3 times. And has lived in our refrigerator for 10 years. Oh my God, please don't put this in the video, Jason.
With the hull polished, the bottom painted, and the prop speeded, it's time to put the boat back in the water. There are a few projects left before we head downriver, the first of all being a charcoal filter for our black water tank. As you might expect, sometimes the sewage tank puts off some pretty gnarly smells, so this big orange filter should take care of the problem. And speaking of stinkers, it's time to celebrate a very special 3rd birthday.
Sorry, kid, it's a Macy's raffle, so let's keep going. What is it? Do you know what treat it is? Wow! Woo!
It's $5.
Oh, wow! Really excited.
Yeah, no kidding.
Welcome to Packing Chaos. I've already done a pretty good job with the kitchen. I just got the pantry cleaned out, and these are things that are all going to be good when we return at the end of next summer. So I just can't get rid of some of those things, like a brand new bottle of hoisin sauce and Shaoxing wine and stuff like that. It doesn't go bad. I got some Willow stuff packed. We've got piles of toys that are coming. And then been working on her clothes. And she has a lot of things. But I think we're gonna fit it all. So just trying to get Willow's clothing items packed. Packing cubes seem like the way to go. Her pajamas are just so big because she has, 2-piece pajamas. I just don't want her stuff to be in a giant heap and just a mess. All my clothes, all my worldly possessions are in this one bag. And goodness, I hope they fit in the closet. We'll see. We got these packing cubes because they fit so nicely. We're supposedly, but we overpacked. We probably overpacked. This seems like a lot. I don't know how I'm gonna fit all of this stuff into our tiny 6-drawer pantry. But hopefully we can get this amount. Just look how pretty it is. Can't wait to get back and have the cleanest refrigerator. It's gonna be so nice.
As the days wind down and our departure becomes imminent, it's time to say farewell to our friends and family with a little party at, where else? A brewery.
This is your favorite beach. This guy loves us.
It's finally the day before departure and we're down to the wire with our boat projects. All 4 house batteries are swapped with new ones, and we work well into the night to install new Raptor decking in our cockpit. We're sleeping aboard tonight because tomorrow morning, the adventure begins. After completing our last-minute checks and receiving a bon voyage from our boat neighbors, it was time to cast off and begin the greatest adventure of our lives. So, as we depart the dock, as we have 100 times before, this time was just a bit different. This time, there is no return date. This time, we'll just keep going forward. And so with the final farewell, we begin the first mile of thousands to come on our great loop adventure.